Welcome back, quick readers. So, how was your reading yesterday? Did you do it? Did you do your reading? Remember, knowledge is not power, it's only what? It's only potential power. It only becomes power when you do it. And so I want to encourage you and inspire you, maybe even cajole you to do the work, because if you don't do the work, you won't get the results. And I want you to get these results because it's worth it for you. It's worth it for you. Other things are unfolding and you don't know, but how you do anything is how you do everything. So maintain this commitment over the next few weeks and everything gets better. And so speaking of that, yesterday, we talked about the 3 obstacles to effective reading. And what were those 3 obstacles as a review? Number 1, we're not taught on how to read faster, so that's lack of education. Number 2, obstacle was lack of focus, and we said that increasing speed will help you to focus. And the third thing is this thing called regression and backskipping, the bad habit we have of rereading words. And we introduced a brand new tool, which you happen to have with you at all times, which is your finger, visual pacer, because what does it do? It gives you the education. It helps you to focus, and also it helps you to prevent backskipping. And that's why a lot of you will actually boost your reading speed immediately. And we're going to test that in this session. So here's the thing, using your finger, it becomes common sense, but it's not common practice. So let's do it together. I want you to grab your practice book. And remember, this is your practice book. We're setting aside comprehension temporarily, and you're practicing again, ideally in something light fiction, where you're not heavily invested in the material, but it's a tool to help you practice much like a treadmill. Much like a treadmill. It's a practicing tool to train your endurance and your speed and your focus. Okay, so grab your book right now, and I want you to pick up where you left off, and I just want you to read for 3 minutes now. 3 minutes, we are going to time you, and then I'm gonna tell you when to start and when to stop. And here are your instructions. I just want you to use your finger while you read. And again, just as a review, you're underlining the words with your finger and you're practicing using your eyes to follow your finger right above it. You're not dragging your finger on the book or on the screen. It's just right above whatever it is that you're reading, and practice going margin to margin, margin to margin, and your eyes following your finger. Okay? Do this now. Okay, now stop. And what I'd like you to do now is put a mark in the margin where you left off. And now what we're gonna do, now that we're warmed up, we did a little bit of a jog, I want you to actually, we're gonna time you now. Because remember from day one, we timed your base rate. So now we wanna do a check-in to see where you are right now using your finger. So what I want you to do is put a mark in the margin where your starting point is. We're gonna time you right now for 2 minutes. And then when I say stop, you're gonna put a mark in the margin where you left off. And then we're gonna go through a process. We're gonna count the number of lines you just read, just like we did in day one. And then we're gonna take that number, divide it by 2, and then write down that number. So again, begin reading using your finger, set comprehension aside temporarily. If you do understand words, that's absolutely wonderful, but begin reading right now. Okay, and stop. How do we do? How was that for you? How was it using your finger? Did it feel a little bit easier? I suspect it did. Now keep in mind, you've only did it for a handful of moments and you're getting better. Even with just a handful of minutes, you're getting better and better. And this is just the beginning of the program. What I'd like you to do, if you haven't already, count the number of lines that you just read. And when you have that number, remember, a line is, just like we talked about before, if it goes more than halfway across the page, or you guesstimate, put it together. But I want to know how fast you're reading your particular book right now. And then write down that number, then divide it by 2, and then you have another number. You could round up if you like. That's your lines per minute. I want you to do that now. Okay, now that you have your lines per minute, how many lines you read in just 1 minute, we want to find out your words per minute. So how do we calculate your words per minute in day one? Simple. We took the average amount of words per line and multiplied it by the lines per minute. So let's say that there were 10 words on average per line. Just add a 0, just multiply it by 10, and you have a new number. What I want you to do now is you have 2 numbers, one from day 1 and one from today. And the only difference is, for one of them, use your finger while you read. Show us your original base rate. What did you start from day 1? How fast were you reading in words per minute? And then I want you to post your second number, and that's what you're reading at right now using a visual pacer. So how do we do, quick reader? Was there a boost in your second test? Meaning when you used your finger, was it a greater number? If you're like most people, that number is about 25 or 50% more. And this is exciting because you've only, again, been practicing in a matter of minutes. Imagine what you're gonna do over the next few weeks. Now, what I want you to do right now is schedule your reading. Going back, this is so important for creating a new habit of reading and practicing. I want you to schedule your reading for another 10 minutes. Today, read for another 10 minutes using your finger and get used to it. The more you do it, the better you get at it, because practice makes what? Practice makes progress. Practice makes progress. So continue using your finger while you read for another 10 minutes, and I'll see you again in tomorrow's lesson.